Well, football fans, Big D back talking all things Denver Broncos, previewing the Broncos AFC Championship showdown with a familiar foe, the New England Patriots, driving the top production. And Monkey Spectrum Sports, this is the Big D himself joining me. My Bronco friend, buzzing in and around Vegas, well, in and around Nevada tonight, BJ. So, BJ, welcome. And, I think we should be thankful it's not icing or snowing in all areas of the country.
Yeah. Let's. I'm interested to see what kind of weather we're going to have on Sunday because the weather's unpredictable these days. So who knows what's going to be?
Let's just say this: it's not going to be 80 degrees in Denver. I'm hearing various weather forecasts about tonight, about your game on Sunday.
Oh, I'm really hoping we get some white stuff on the ground.
I'm trying to think. Has Denver seen snow for a playoff game?
Last time we were playing the Patriots, baby, did you not remember that C.J. Anderson run in the snow?
I remember that overtime run because that's how you got home field advantage.
Yes, sir. C.J. Anderson made that 55-yard run in the snow, and that was the most beautiful run I've ever seen in my life.
Not if you're Tom Brady or Bill Belichick, though.
Absolutely not. Well, if you're a Patriots fan, you're not wanting to come into Mile High City, man. We have that home field advantage. 5280 is an advantage, even without snow. And we just need to stick with bringing that noise and keeping our boys in the mood and keeping them in strong and tough.
So what's the earliest Denver Bronco memory you have?
That would be the Broncos draft of 1983, man. Like I was telling you earlier, my dad was a big baseball fan as well. My dad was a Giants fan. I was 7 years old in 83, so I didn't know a ton about football, but the draft, when John Elway had said that if he didn't play for any other team other than the Colts, that he would just accept the draft spot of the Yankees and go play baseball for them. And my dad and I said, well, whoever trades for John Elway is who we're going to root for because we don't want to see that man play for the Yankees. Sure enough, the Broncos came and drafted us, and the rest is lovely, lovely, somewhat sad, but a lot of happy history.
Yeah, and in a weird irony, because until John Elway won his Super Bowls in 32 and 33, a lot of people would say John Elway and Dan Marino the greatest quarterbacks never to win.
Yeah. And John Elway, he had made 5 total Super Bowls, winning 2. But before that first one in 97, before that first the Super Bowl 32, man, he was even starting to write himself off at that point. He was starting to question whether he was able to win the big one or not. When he was at Stanford and they had that big Cal Stanford game and the band ran on the field and they lost to Cal that year, man, it was tough.
By the way, just looked up the weather. You want the good news? Some more good news.
Oh, I love good news. Let's hear it.
How about a temperature of 19 degrees with some afternoon snow showers?
That's what I like to hear. And we're playing at 1 o'clock Mountain Time, and we should see some of the beautiful white stuff on the ground. And yeah, that Orange Rush defense is going to cough that ball up on the Patriots, and Drake May is going to be on his back most of that game. I have a very good feeling.
It's weird. I mean, going back to the history of the Denver Broncos, seems like defense has been the game. Going back to the first Super Bowl with Tom Jackson, the linebackers, then of course the '90s with Ed Romanowski, Steve Atwater, and even the 2013, especially the 2015 no-fly zone. What's with defense in Denver?
Oh, this is the Orange Rush this year, too. And I'll tell you what, the Smiling Assassin, who is my absolute favorite player of all time, Steve Atwater, I wear his jersey every week. And like I was telling you, that jersey doesn't get cleaned until the season is over. And my wife isn't thrilled about it, but I only wear it one time a week, and that's that, only on Sundays. And it's been a good thing, and I can't wait to wear it this Sunday and just watch us beat the Patriots and, God willing, get us to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. And I've got all the faith in the world in Stiddy and our Orange Rush defense, Nick Benito and Zach Allen, and our PS2, man. We have the best defense there is. It might not be statistically the best, but we do have the best defense in the NFL. And Champ Bailey is going to be the one planting the flag he's going to be planting the flag this time. And I have nothing but good feelings about this game.
And by the way, going back to how Steve Atwater played, I think he would either get fined, suspended, or ejected every other game. I remember that play. I remember the Super Bowl 32 when Atwater came in and absolutely took out Robert Brooks.
Yeah. The biggest and best memory that I've got of Steve Atwater was I remember the Christian Okoye hit. I mean, there was so much talk about Christian Okoye being the toughest running back that's ever played the game. And Steve Atwater just came straight up the middle and knocked him into next Tuesday and backwards. And he lost every bit of confidence was gone from Christian Okoye after that. It was so beautiful. Such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and then it's funny how one play can change your career. I mean, John Akota was never the same after wrecking his knee in the preseason.
Mm-hmm. Look at Cam Newton after the Super Bowl, after Super Bowl 50. He started dressing like a woman after that. He was just not the same man.
And maybe Cam put on some girly instincts instead of diving for fumbles.
Yeah, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what hit him every time Vaughn hit him, and it was a beautiful thing. Just a beautiful thing. Denver's defense is always tops, man.
Well, I mean, going back to the division round, it was weird in some ways that Josh Allen made that many mistakes, but for some reason, I don't know. You might disagree with me. I felt like in some ways Denver's defense a little disappointing, despite all the great guys.
Oh yeah,
because, I mean.
No, you're not wrong. There was a couple of tackles. Singleton, he came alive that game, but he also made some pretty bad errors. He didn't finish a lot of the tackles that he was making. It wasn't just Singleton. It was a lot of the guys. Hufanga was lighting people up, but there were some times where he couldn't wrap himself around the guy and couldn't bring him totally to the ground. And it's just with everybody. And for some reason, James Cook was able to rush for over 100 yards, and it was because our guys just couldn't finish the tackle, is exactly what it was. But that is something that I know Vance Johnson has been working on with them. And if he hasn't, I'd be shocked. If that is not the one thing that they have been drilling over, it's been forcing turnovers and holding on to your player that you're tackling. Because if you can't tackle, you're going to lose.
Well, you know what? Guess what January football is? Stop the run, force the other team to throw, see ball, hit ball, take ball, score. That worked in the 70s and still works today.
Yep. It all translates through. It's a beautiful thing, my friend.
And then, I mean, Broncos did force 5 turnovers now. Now. It seemed like Josh Allen forced the ball a couple of times. I mean, that turnover at the end of the first half is one of the worst, maybe the worst turnover I've ever seen Josh Allen make.
Yeah, that was pointless. That was just pointless of him. With that many seconds left in the half, he didn't need to run the ball like that.
And offense that really, I mean, it's it's an irony that Bo Nix can't play because I thought Bo played really well against Buffalo. Made some big throws to Sutton. I mean, that throw to Mims in the end zone to put the Broncos up 3 was a really good pass.
Yeah, between that one and the second pass to Lil Jordan, as long as that kid does not drop the ball, man, that kid can have 100-yard games. He could be a 1,000-yard receiver, but he's got to figure out how to stop dropping that ball.
I mean, that first touchdown he should have called is just as inexcusable because that was a perfect pass.
Yeah, it was a dime right there. If you touch the ball like that, you better catch it. There's no reason he shouldn't have caught that ball.
You know who I think would have been really big in that playoff game was Pat Bryant because Pat Bryant was going to have a day. Like, he caught 3 for 32 early, and I'm like, if he didn't get concussed, Pat Bryant might have gone 12 for 1 for whatever like Shakir did.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. The thing that worries me about Pat Bryant is the fact that he's getting all these concussions so close together. They might have found a soft spot on him, and it's not good for him for long-term or even short-term for him. I'd be more worried about his normal everyday life because if you look at someone like Demaryius Thomas, God rest his soul, but that man died of an epileptic seizure, and he got hit and a lot of times got hit in the head, and that's something that people have to really worry about. But Pat, I believe that he's young, man, and I'm just hoping that he finds a way to power through this, and because he can do it. If anybody can do it, it's Pat. He can catch the ball. He can make the yards after the catch. That guy is a 1,000-yard receiver. He's definitely a number 2 spot receiver all day long.
And then the play that Bo Nix hurt himself was one of the weirdest plays. It's just a run. I mean, it's not like he's doing anything crazy. I mean, and then fractured his ankle. Like,
and that play shouldn't have even happened is the worst part of it. That's that one play, the first play that they made where they were holding in the end zone. It's videoed. It's right there. They missed the holding call in the end zone. That would have ended the game, and Bo would still be healthy if that happened. And no one would be talking about the Jaquan McMillan interception either because it never would have happened. We would have already been in the playoffs, and Bo would have been.
You would have gotten a safety, and there wouldn't have been any PI or catch or no catch controversies.
Exactly.
And by the way, 2 times in Super Bowl history that a game started with a safety. One was Super Bowl 46, and one was Super Bowl where they was holding in the end zone. One was Super Bowl 48 when Manny Ramirez practically snapped that ball to Manhattan.
Went right. I couldn't believe how far he snapped that. That was insane.
And I'm like, this game could. And hearing that Seattle crowd, I'm like, this game's over.
Oh yeah, it sure wasn't, man. Wow.
But unfortunately, Denver won, but lost Bo Nix, and now Jared Stidham's going to make his season debut. Hasn't played a game since week 18 of the 23 season.
It was he played the last 2 games when Russell Wilson left, so that's the last time he played in an actual NFL regular season game. Was 3 years ago. Was the last 2 games of the season. Did good, but this is going to be special for Stiddy. He's got revenge on his mind. This was the team. You got to remember, the Patriots drafted him. Belichick drafted him to be Brady's heir apparent, and got rid of him. And he went and took over in Oakland, and didn't exactly do well. But we got to remember who the coach over there was, because that's part 2 of our lovely revenge story. Good old Josh McDaniels. That guy is I love every time we beat that man. There is no better feeling in the world than beating Josh McDaniel, Bill Belichick, the Patriots, except for beating the Raiders and the Chiefs and the Chargers, man. I love it all. Beating the Patriots in the playoffs is special, though.
Is it better to beat the Patriots with or without Belichick? Or does it really matter?
It doesn't matter. I mean, they're 15. They've got they've got more wins than we do right now. Same amount of losses. They're a good team. You can't take anything away from them. They are a good team. They're in the AFC Championship just like we are. There is zero you could take away from that team. They had to beat Buffalo. They've had to beat all the other teams. They had a much easier schedule than we did this year, but they're proving themselves right now. It's not going to be a walk in the park. I know that much. It's going to be a fight, and we're both going to come out bloody, and everything's going to be painful afterwards. But it's going to be a fantastic game, I hope.
Do you see? How do you see Jared Stidham playing on Sunday? Because we haven't seen him play. I mean, honestly, I have no idea what to expect. What I remember of Stidham is he's not really a mobile quarterback, so he's not going to run around the pocket like Bo. He can throw it. I mean, Stidham's been in the Sean Payton offense for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Stiddy's got, from what everyone has said, Stiddy has a stronger arm than Bo does, which I don't even know if I 100% believe that, but he's accurate. And he does make some very good decisions. He's not as mobile as Bo, which is somewhat of a bad thing, especially in the snow. But with having someone like Jaleel in the backfield and having RJ Harvey in the backfield, as long as he can hold on to the ball, we might need to get him some super glue to put on the ball so he doesn't drop it. Hopefully he won't fumble like Gordon used to. But I think we've got the tools that it takes to win this game. And I think Stidham, as long as he's on point and has just an overall good game, like I think he will, I think he's going to go probably about 60% of his throws. He's going to throw for 200 plus, maybe 2 touchdowns. I think he'll do just fine. I think he'll take us where we need to go. If you look at the past, I mean, look at the Super Bowl we played in last time. Peyton Manning was the worst Peyton Manning we had. He threw for 143 yards and 1 interception. Not a good game from him. Still won 24-10, but it was all defense at that point, and it was all of our running game. C.J. Anderson was a beast back then.
Yeah, and a few of my fantasy friends were wondering, like, where's RJ Harvey? Because the Broncos turned into a passing offense against Buffalo, despite the Bills having a crappy run defense. Maybe that was the reason why my Jacks lost the previous week, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, that's a Sean Payton thing right there. That is definitely a play call. And you'll watch, you could watch the replay of that game, of the last week's game, and he has right on the top of his little play card, run the ball. It just says, run the ball, in exclamation points. And he has to remember to do that, especially if it's snowing, especially if it's raining, especially if the ball's even a little bit wet. He's got to make sure we hold on to it, and he has to keep it on the ground. We can win this game on the ground. It does not have to be in the air.
Well,
but
one aspect that I think the Broncos have an edge over New England is on the offensive line. Denver's got a great offensive line with Bowles. Who is the guard? Manher?
Quinn Miners, the gut. I love that man.
I mean, Denver's got an offensive line, and even though New England's gotten after Justin Herbert and C.J. Stroud, New England's not faced an offensive line near this good in the playoffs.
And plus, we got Wattenberg back, so our center is good. We've got Wattenberg, we've got Powers, we've got McGlinchey, we've got Bowles and Miners. That is the best. And there's been very little sacks. You could see Bo's hardly taken a sack all year. So for him, Stiddy should be comfortable, and he'll be just fine in the pocket as a pocket passer, because he's not a guy like Russ. He's like Russ Wilson, who'll just hold on to it and not throw it away. If he doesn't see anything, he'll get rid of it, and it'll be a good, wise move to get rid of if need be. But I have a feeling that we're going to get some breakaway speed from Sutton. We're going to get some huge breakaway speed from Mims if he can do it, and I know he can. But that all-pro offensive line, man, that is going to be the wall. Just might as well call that the big orange wall.
Yeah, almost like Kenny Chesney's song, Big Orange Ball. It might be Big Orange Wall.
Big orange wall. Exactly.
Well, I mean, you mentioned a couple of the wide receivers. Mims caught a touchdown.
Mhm.
Sutton was in the witness protection program the first couple of quarters and came up big late. Mentioned Pat Bryant, Littleton, and Humphrey. I don't know about Troy Franklin, whether or not he's going to play.
He practiced. From what I was reading, it looked like he was playing. I think I didn't see his name on the report, so I don't know. They didn't designate a game position, I think, for Bryant or him, but I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that one. Yeah.
Troy.
I know we're not going to have J.K. Dobbins, unfortunately, but if we can make it to the Super Bowl, he'll be able to play.
Troy Franklin is questionable for the game with his hamstring.
I'll take questionable. I like questionable. That means there's a possibility.
It's better than doubtful, right?
Exactly.
So, offensively, we know Christian Gonzalez is great. I mean, it's funny. The top 3 cornerbacks in the league are all playing this weekend, that being Patrick Surtain Jr., the second, Christian Gonzalez, and then Witherspoon in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing Sutton's strength from the X position, I think Sutton might see a lot of Gonzalez.
Yeah, I think Sutton's going to have his hands full, and if he doesn't make any sound during that game, there's going to be a good reason. You might see a lot more tight end play. We might actually see Evan Engram miraculously catch more than one ball a game. I'm hoping. I mean, we brought him over as a joker. Hopefully he'll be the guy that can go up the middle and make those extra special 10-yard plays for a first down that we need, that tight end play.
I can attest because we had Evan Engram for a few years in Jacksonville, and he was great. I think one year Evan Engram caught like 100-something passes.
Yeah, he's had good years, but I'm not a fan. I'm really just unfortunately not a fan of Evan Engram right now, just because his production, every time the ball gets thrown to him, it's like he drops it. He's caught a couple of good ones, but he's dropped so many passes. It's bad. And I don't know
if Ingram's what he was in New York or Jacksonville.
No, Ingram's on the last leg of his career now, and he had a good career, and he's at the tail end of it. You know, he doesn't have the skill that he used to have. He doesn't have the speed that he used to have. But who knows? Maybe he still has that toughness in him, and that's what I'm really hoping for, is that he has that toughness.
So I'm thinking back to, of course, Sean Payton, this is not his first rodeo on Championship Sunday. 1-1, controversial loss with the Saints-Rams game a few years ago. It's weird that Sean Payton's record of backup quarterback is actually better than you'd think. Like, Sean Payton, Andy Reid, with backup quarterback, I wouldn't worry about it. But how do you think Sean Payton changes his game plan with Stidham compared to Bo Nix?
I don't think there's a lot of change. I think there's going to be probably less quarterback draws, less designed quarterback runs, which there hasn't been many to begin with in the playoffs especially. But towards the end of the season, if you noticed, Bo didn't really hold on to the ball much and do a lot of running. There were a couple of solid touchdown runs that he did have, but a lot of them weren't designed runs specifically for him. He just had to leave the pocket, saw a hole, and took it. And that's one of his many, many weapons. Stiddy doesn't have that, but he can. He's not Peyton Manning when it comes to running. He's a tall guy, and he can get up and move if he needs to. It's just a matter of, will he? You know, is he going to panic when he's in the pocket? That's the only little bit of thing I'm worried about. But Sean Payton, one thing you got to give Sean Payton credit where credit's due, he took every backup quarterback that he's had and made them a winner. Bridgewater, we wound up trading for Bridgewater because he went 5-0 under Sean Payton. He took, Taysom Hill, made him a winner. He's taken other quarterbacks all over and made them winners as far as backups go. And it's impressive, to say the least. And I think he'll do the same with Stiddy. I think his offensive plan is going to remain very, very similar to what it is with Bo at the helm, as with Stiddy at the helm. I think you're going to see a couple more big shots downfield, though, because Stiddy does have that arm, and I think he's going to let it rip. He's going to have that arm and go downfield, maybe a couple 40, 50-yard passes. I'm hoping to see some good stuff.
Yeah, and that would mean maybe Marvin Mims, maybe Franklin, Bryant. I mean Sutton. Sutton's just a third down guy. If it's 3rd and 5, I think Sutton's going to get a 7-8 yard pass.
Absolutely. Sutton's our number one receiver right now, and I love the guy. The guy's been a Bronco his whole career, and I hope he retires as a Bronco. I can tell you that one of my personal beliefs is that our priority next year is going to be running back and wide receiver specifically. And Sutton is a great guy, but he's getting up there in age. Mims is fantastic at what he does. The speed, the breakaway speed that kid has, he can smoke just about any cornerback in the league, including Pat Surtain, which is the whole reason they ran that play last week, because he beat Surtain in the end zone when he caught that touchdown. That was the one he did in practice. He beat Surtain in practice on that same exact play. Peyton said, let's run it. It worked like a charm.
Hey, by the way, speaking of Peyton Manning touchdown runs, maybe the funny I saw a lot of Peyton Manning in his career. Maybe the funniest Peyton Manning play of his career was that touchdown run in Big D when he bootlegged the whole defense and Peyton Manning walked into the end zone.
That was one of my favorite games to watch. It was tough, man. That was a high scoring game. It was 54-52, I think, or something like, or 48-52. It was an insanely high scoring game, and it was Romo and Manning in a shootout. And up to that point, if you remember, that was the first time Manning had threw an interception that whole season. That was the 2013 season. That was his first interception in that Cowboys game.
51-48.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a great run, man. That was, I've never seen a greater bootleg than that. It was flawless, to say the least. To watch old man Manning walk in the end zone was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. And
so, defensively, Denver's going to have a challenge facing Drake May. I mean, you could say, talk about New England's schedule, but Denver's schedule this year, quarterback-wise, was more or less I wouldn't say a cakewalk, but, the Broncos didn't face a lot of top-notch quarterbacks. You faced Mahomes, Herbert, Love. But it was weird, like that Week 16 game against Trevor sort of surprised me. Maybe it surprised you, because Trevor and the Jacks put up 34 points. I think Trevor put up a few touchdowns, and I'm like, I didn't necessarily see coming. So, how do you think Vance Joseph's going to play this week? Because we know Vance loves bringing the heat.
Do you remember 1985? The 85 Bears took a beating by the Miami Dolphins. That team should have gone 16-0. It should have been a total of 18 or 19-0 and win the Super Bowl. But because they lost to Dan Marino and the Dolphins that one game, they thought that they could do anything before that. And then, hey, you know what? We're still human. They fixed the mistakes that they were making in that game. That Jacksonville loss had to happen. It made us realize we're human. We have a human team. There is room for human error. Let's just cut it down. Let's make it better. What can our defense do better against these other teams now that we're in the playoffs that we didn't do against Jacksonville, that we should have done? But because that loss happened, it woke Sean Payton up and it woke Vance Joseph up. I can tell you that much. Now they've just got to show it. They've got to prove that we belong there. We belong in the Super Bowl. We're not just some fly-by-night team that's, here 1 second, gone the next. Stiddy's going to do it. Our defense is going to do it the hardest, though. Our defense will come through. I can see Von Miller and Nick Bonito. You watch that first step of Nick Bonito's, and it looks exactly like Von Miller. And I'll tell you what, Von Miller is even saying the same thing. He praises Nick Bonito every chance. That man wants to retire a Bronco. He wants to play behind Nick Bonito just so he can make sure that Nick Bonito is better than Von Miller is. And that's Von Miller's words, not mine.
Well, one thing about the Broncos, they get after the quarterback, led the league in sacks, sacked Josh Allen 3 times last week, and Drake May's been sacked 5 times in his 2 playoff games.
And it's going to happen a lot more this weekend. I can't wait. He's going to be playing on his back, and that's going to be beautiful.
Well, not just the pass rushers, but Denver's got a second. We know Surtain is certainly a top corner. Riley Moss, if he can
sleep on our back. Don't sleep on our white boy. That crackerback Riley Moss, man, that guy is the real man. He's the real deal. Don't sleep on him.
If he can avoid penalties.
Mm-hmm. If he can avoid penalties, he's a hell of a cornerback. And Jahdae Barron is no slouch either. He just needs to focus on that middle. He needs to focus on that X slot. That slot receiver and that X receiver, he needs to stay in the middle and make sure that he takes those away. That's his number one priority.
So, honestly, anybody who worries you from the New England offense, obviously Drake May, but skill position wise.
Running back. Travion Henderson, that kid is amazing. Our run defense, we showed a weakness last week, and that was a problem. With their running game in New England and the snow happening, that is going to be our biggest hurdle to overcome. Our guys have to finish tackles. We can't do this, just one hit and done. We can't shoestring tackle. These guys have got to tackle. Back to basics. They have to wrap. They've got to get these guys down. They cannot let them get more than 2 yards. Tackles for loss have to happen. We've got to keep them on their heels. Otherwise, we're not going to win. That's just plain and simple.
Yeah, if you can't stop the run, guess what? Those long drives are gonna continue, and at altitude, that's just going to magnify problems.
Yep. Exactly it. And hey, you never know. Maybe Frank Crum will catch another pass in the end zone.
only Sean Payton would have a backup lineman catch passes.
Amen. That was awesome. Gotta love it.
We'll have Jimmy Graham come out of retirement and slam dunk a ball.
It's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing.
I mean, now that Dan Skipper's retired, what's it going to be? Dan Crum and Dan Skipper. I mean, you remember, an AFC Championship game where a backup lineman caught a touch. Dan Klecker caught a touchdown from Peyton Manning in an AFC Championship game.
Wasn't that in 06, in the 06 AFC Championship game, I think? Yeah. I mean, this is the time. Open up the playbook. Sean's got to open up that playbook, and I know he will. He did. He proved that to us last week, and I think he's going to keep doing it again. And as long as our defense just keeps making the tackles, we'll be just fine. Our defense is going to keep it going. We got to keep doing the tackles for loss. We got to keep sacking the quarterback. Our defensive line, Malcolm Roach, JFM, all those guys, Zach Allen, we've got to make sure that they stuff that run game like nobody's business.
Do you worry about the defense having enough gas because of playing that extra period last week and being on the field for 40 minutes and now facing Drake May?
No, because we had an extra day off. Being that we got to play on Saturday and now we don't have to play till Sunday, we're okay. I think we're going to be just fine. They're used to it. And the fact that we don't have to travel, hopefully it doesn't make us lazy, but at the same time, it'll give us that extra rest being at home. The noise from Mile High, I don't know if you've ever been to a game at Mile High, but if you're sitting in that center level, that noise, you can actually feel the entire stadium move. It is the most exhilarating feeling ever. I watched Rich Gannon get sacked back in 2000, and it was the most amazing feeling ever. The noise from that crowd was just electric. It was awesome.
How much does the altitude affect things positively for the Broncos and negatively for the other team?
Oh, there's no. It is the most unfair, quote unquote, advantage in all of the NFL because there is no other team that plays at a mile high. We are 5,280 feet above sea level. That air is thin. It will get you sick. You will see people throwing up. You will see people getting IVs on the sidelines regularly because they have to. Altitude sickness is a real thing. These guys train, they use the altitude masks to train in, but it's just not the same, especially when it's as cold out as it's going to be. If it's going to be snow and you've got sub-zero temperatures, you're going to have, 19 degrees, I think we said, and you're going to have a little of the lovely white stuff on the ground. Those guys are going to be having hands on their hips, mouths wide open. They can't get enough oxygen. That is where we hit them in the mouth. It's just like a fighter. When you're in a boxing ring and you hit someone in the gut, their mouth opens in, you hit them in the jaw, they're done. That altitude does the same thing. It takes the wind out of you real fast, a lot faster than you can expect.
Yeah, and also, so not just the altitude in terms of play calling, but New England's traveling, I think, tomorrow, which is interesting because Patriots. We know these teams usually travel the day before a big game, but there's always something with Denver that's fascinating.
Yeah. Denver is not the easiest team to prep for, no matter what. And it doesn't matter. I remember going through the last 10 years, the 2000s, when we didn't have a great team before Jake Plummer, all that stuff. We didn't have the greatest of teams. And, we were still, an 8-8 franchise here and there after Elway retired. And then after Peyton retired, we were just mediocre to horrible for a long, long time for the last 10 years. But no matter what, that altitude still has people breathing hard, and it is still a very big advantage for our Broncos because we train them every single day. And training in the altitude actually helps the Broncos, helps our team play anywhere else in the country because it's that much easier when you're at normal altitudes. The altitude sickness is just gone at that point.
Yeah, and unlike some playoff games, like when the Jaguars played in Denver, the weather was like 60 degrees, so the weather was a non-issue.
Mm-hmm. But the altitude, it was still there. That's the one thing that they had a problem with.
Well, Trevor Lawrence was a bigger problem for you guys too.
Yeah, Trevor was not an easy quarterback. He's a good quarterback. You can't take anything away from that guy. He was a number 1 draft pick for a very good reason.
Yeah. In a way, are people overlooking the fact that Denver's got New England's number in the playoffs? The Broncos are 4-1, or 4-1 against the Patriots in the playoffs.
Tom Brady never beat the Broncos in the playoffs.
Well, he did one year that Tebow played.
But that was not in Denver.
True.
They have never lost to the Patriots in Denver in the playoffs, especially in AFC Championship games. Peyton Manning was 2-0 against Tom Brady in the championship games, but the Patriots have not beaten us in AFC Championship games in Denver. Why
is that? Is it like Tom Brady's haunted house is Denver?
Possibly. Hey, if that's the case, I'm okay with it. Like I say, I'm superstitious when it comes to my football games. There's something about Mile High that it strikes fear into the hearts of a lot of people, and it's a deservedly so, especially this year.
Yeah, and thinking back to that team, was there a pick six or darn near a pick six in that team?
That was
2005 game.
That was 2013. Champ Bailey had a 98.
2005 game.
There was one. It was Champ Bailey had a 90. Well, he caught it in the end zone and ran it back all the way to the 2. And that should have been a pick six. I thought that was 2013. Thought that was around Champ Bailey's last game with the Broncos, but I know it was. It might have been a Jake Plummer time. I really don't remember exactly. My memory is not the greatest of all times right now, and I don't have an extra computer to look stuff up right now. I apologize.
Well, I think that game, Champ Bailey returned to pick 101 yards, and Benjamin Watson forced a fumble on like the 1 yard line.
Yeah. Champ Bailey is that guy. That guy should have won at least one defensive player of the year awards. The guy had 10 interceptions one season and still didn't win DPOY that year.
Well, cornerback. Well, everybody loves giving it to the pass rushers.
Mm-hmm.
Although this year, I think we both would say Myles Garrett would be a half decent candidate.
I don't think there's going to be another. Nick. I'm glad Nick Bonito made it as a finalist, but I don't think anybody other than Myles Garrett's going to win it this year.
That will be the easiest award.
Oh, yeah. That's a gimme right there.
And if that's not unanimous, then the voters should lose their votes.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree with you on that one.
Although we could argue like MVP or offensive player of the year, but that's either near thing.
Yeah. Listen, our guys got screwed out of pretty much all of the awards this year, with the exception of DPOY. Sean Payton is not a finalist for Coach of the Year, and he's in the AFC Championship. I mean, come on. And thank God Vance Joseph is the Assistant Coach of the Year finalist, but him and Bonito were the only two guys that made any difference.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised Vance Joseph? I mean, yeah, Vance Joseph is coaching this game, but are you surprised that Vance Joseph hasn't gotten more recognition for potentially getting another head coaching job?
Nope. Vance Joseph is a fantastic defensive coordinator, but as a head coach, he lacks. It's not an easy transition to go from a coordinator position to a head coach position. And if you've noticed, a lot of those defensive guys who made the transition, like Rob Saleh, who's San Francisco's DC, he was the Jets head coach, and he fumbled. I mean, he was just a horrible head coach.
Well, part of it is he went to the wrong team.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, Vance Joseph, he had the opportunity to be a great coach in Denver, but nothing. It's just there's certain people who just need to stay where they're at. Wade Phillips is, one of my favorite coaches of all time. The man was a horrible head coach, absolutely horrible, but the best defensive coordinator in the NFL. And I couldn't imagine that man. If I don't know why he hasn't been hired back as a defensive coordinator. He's still in the UFL. He is like 125 years old and still a DC over in the UFL and doing pretty good. But the man he's got the best defensive mind of anyone in football right now. Him and someone like Rex Ryan, you put those guys in a defense and you can pretty much kiss any other team goodbye. You've got the 85 Bears all over again. And Vance Joseph proved that he's one of those defensive guys. I don't know what's going to happen with him next year, and I don't know whether the Walton Penner Group is going to open their wallet up and say, hey, we want to keep you as our DC. Here's a bag of money. They can do it. There's no salary cap for coaches.
How about I've got one for you in terms of great DCs, but not necessarily great head HCs. The guy you'd be familiar with, Vic Fangio.
Yeah, Vic Fangio's the same way. One of the smartest defensive minds in football as there is. And the guy couldn't coach his way out of a paper bag as the head coach. He just doesn't. There's so many things to the offense that he just didn't quite understand with the individual play calling, things like that. He just couldn't get the grasp of having that whole head coach, that persona about him. And and like I said, you can't take anything away from him. He is one of the best defensive minds in football by far. There's not very many people that I would put above him. I would love to see him back in Denver if we had the opportunity to. The fact that we beat him this year made me very happy because, when we beat Philly, we beat him. He's their DC right there. And Philly has a strong defense, and we got him, There's a lot of things to be said about him.
Part of that might be the pitiful Eagle offense, but that's either near or there.
That's true. But we did put the numbers up against Philly too. So it's, it was a good offensive game for us against Vic Fangio's defense. Vance Joseph, and I'll tell you, I'm going to hate to see him go if he takes a head coaching job in Arizona where they're talking about him, but I really don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with him. I hope and I pray that that he might be our DC one more year. Maybe he won't. Maybe we'll get someone like Rex Ryan out of retirement and come be a DC. Who knows?
Yeah, that would be weird if Rex Ryan became a DC again. Might have to increase the weight limit on the plane rides.
Money. He makes a lot of money as a broadcaster right now. So, I mean, if any team has the money to pay him, it would be Denver. The Walton Penner Group, we have the richest owners in the NFL. But, yeah, I mean, look at Sean Payton. That man's a happy man. He ain't going nowhere. He'll retire as a Denver Bronco.
Yeah. Honestly, when I look at Sean Payton, I'm like, some guys are just destined for football. Like, I think we knew even that one year with Fox, like Sean Payton was going to coach again. And I even questioned like the Broncos, but then I'm like, I mean,
you can't do anything from the guy. He learned from one of the greats. He learned from Parcells, Bill Parcells.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad teacher.
Not at all.
And I think you would, and it's funny how like certain coaches, like Andy Reid's coaching too, he's good. Everybody wants a Sean McVay coach. I'm surprised nobody wants a Sean Payton coach. Although his coaching tree is a little limited, though.
Well, and it's going to be an interesting thing to see what Buffalo does next too, especially after McDermott's gone and. I'm still a little confused on that firing. I don't know if that was a personal thing with him and Josh Allen or him and other people or him in the front office or he just cried a little too much all weekend. I really don't know. I find it odd that the Bills would fire the head coach, but not the general manager, only drafted 2 Pro Bowls. Mm-hmm. The Bills are the Bills, and they will always be the Bills. You can put lipstick on a pig, but it's always going to be a pig, and that's the Bills. Unfortunately, they were a great team in the '90s. They went to 4 consecutive Super Bowls and lost 4 consecutive Super Bowls. Jim Kelly had some of the worst luck on his side that you could ever imagine. Poor guy, the wide right field goal. I mean, there was some bad blow.
Thomas losing his helmet, forgetting his helmet.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, how much bad luck can one man have over a decade? I love Jim Kelly as a player. The guy was amazing, but he just couldn't get the job done. Couldn't finish it.
And now Josh Allen, I mean, I think you would agree with me, probably the best quarterback in football, can't get to a Super Bowl. That doesn't
They don't build around him. They took his tools away from him. They gave him a great running back. He had the number 1 running back in the division this year in what's his name? In
Cook.
Yeah, James Cook. They got rid of Stephon Diggs, who we're playing against this weekend. They don't give him much. They gave him Brandon Cooks, who wasn't a bad pickup for them, but is he really a wide receiver 1? Shakir is a great receiver, but you still got to build him around Josh Allen. you got to protect him. You got to give him an offensive line. And that whole line was injured all year. Their training staff is absolutely horrible. And a lot of the teams in the NFL have that same problem. The one thing that the Broncos have over every other team, all 31 other teams, we have the best training staff in the NFL. Look at how few of injuries we've actually had, knock on wood. We have not had a lot of injuries, thank God. You know, the Bo injury was very unfortunate, but man, our training staff has been stellar keeping injuries down. Not like San Francisco, that's for sure.
Oh, gosh. And now we're hearing all those freaky situations why the 49ers having injuries. But by the way, I think the Broncos play the Bills next year. My memory serves me right.
Yeah, I think we do. I think that's if I remember right, I think it's one of our home games.
Oh, so the Bills are going to be rocking and rolling next year.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see where the different coaches land, where the rest of these coaches land. I'm actually kind of interested to see who the Raiders wind up picking up as their head coach.
It'd be funny if the Raiders get Sean McDermott.
That would be hilarious. Do you think that if they did get Sean McDermott, they'd find a way to trade for Josh Allen?
No. I think Tom Brady would. I think Tom Brady would want Mendoza.
Yeah, he wants to get someone young. Geno Smith was never the answer ever. Either was Pete Carroll, obviously.
Yeah, unfortunately, Pete Carroll age faster than 100-year-old wine.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Now, usually when the guest joins me, they're the ones ask me trivia because I'm the trivia savant. Well, I thought I'd flip it on you.
Okay.
Go back in time. 10 years ago, the Denver Broncos scored 2 touchdowns in the 2015 AFC Championship win over the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
Who called both touchdowns in said game?
Oh, goodness. That one's tough. Oh, my gosh. No, my memory is lost. Was that Eddie Royal? No, that was not Eddie Royal. That was way before Eddie Royal, or after Eddie Royal. It wasn't Demaryius Thomas either.
No.
Who did Osweiler throw that to?
I'll give you a hint. Peyton Manning. Say it again.
Was it Owen Daniels?
Yep.
That's right. Our tight end. Yeah, Owen Daniels. That guy, yeah, that was one of my head scratchers. I never understood why he was at Denver Broncos at his age. He was a solid tight end, but never understood why we picked him up until he started doing what he was doing, man.
Well, Owen Daniels played under Gary Kubiak, who was your head coach. And it's funny, John Fox got to a Super Bowl, won 3 division titles, but the Broncos basically fired him and got Gary Kubiak, brought back Gary Kubiak, who won a Super Bowl.
And who else? Wade Phillips.
That helped.
Yeah, that was Gary Kubiak. You gotta look at John Elway with that Gary Kubiak hire though, because he was around when Wade Phillips was there. He was around when Kub was there. Kubiak was his backup quarterback for years in Denver in the 80s. And Kubiak, when he was with the Texans, he was a solid coach, but man, he knew what he was doing when he was with the Broncos. He had put together the complete team right there.
Yeah, and that defense could sure scare the you-know-what out of
everybody. If you weren't scared of Von Miller and Elvis and all those guys, I mean, there's DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller. You had 2 of the scariest, largest men ever running at you on either side of you. You were just hoping not to die during that game is all it was.
Yeah,
That defense is amazing.
Yeah, and then also, trying to think. I think Bradley Roby was the one who intercepted the 2-point conversion.
Mm-hmm. Bradley Roby, that was our no-fly zone. Roby and Chris Harris Jr. and Talib, man, those guys were good. Such a great secondary.
TJ Ward.
Mm-hmm. Our safety, absolutely.
So how did the Broncos win on Sunday without Bo Nix?
Defense is going to win that game. If we can force the takeaways, if we can keep that going and run the ball, give it to Jaleel. Jaleel will do it. That kid is averaging more than 5 yards a carry every time he plays. I don't know why Peyton hasn't seen that. I don't know why he hasn't given him the ball more, but man, Jaleel can be 100-yard-a-game rusher plus. That kid can start anywhere in the NFL. He's got it. Harvey is he's gonna plow through on third downs. He can do the yards after the catch, but we've got to keep the ball. Got to establish that running game. If we don't establish the running game, just kiss our butts goodbye.
I think the Broncos not only need to run the ball, but Jared Stidham's going to have to play fish. He might not have to throw for a lot of yards, but I think Stidham's going to have to make 3 or 4, maybe 5 big throws, just like Bo did. I think the Broncos are going to have to protect. Now, Stidham's not going to run like Bo Nix, which may help, which may hurt. We'll see. And defensively, I think the Broncos are going to have to force Drake May into a couple of mistakes. I mean, if Drake May's had a fumbling issue in the playoffs and, Denver forced 5 turnovers last week, is it outrageous to say Denver could force a couple?
As long as we can be positive on our side, if we can have +3 turnovers, if we can make sure that we don't turn the ball over and we force takeaways, that game is ours. End of story. Defense is going to win that game.
I think it's a low scoring game. I think it's 2017. I don't think it's a high scoring game either way.
I'm thinking 22-19, 22-18, somewhere around there.
How about in your case? How about 22-21? Because I think the Broncos made both of those Super Bowls.
You never know. You never know, man.
In California, no less.
Listen, I will be happy no matter what the score is, as long as the Broncos win. Like I said, I've been a Broncos fan since I was 7 years old. My dad would be thrilled if he was still alive to see the Broncos play today. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, and it seems like, it's weird. No Mahomes, no Allen, no Burrow, no Lamar, and we end up with Broncos, Patriots, Rams, Seahawks on Championship Sunday.
Yep, and I have a feeling we're going to see a Super Bowl with the Rams and the Broncos this year.
Actually, funny story. Until the Packers got Micah Parsons, that would have been my Super Bowl at the start of the year.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been my Super Bowl at the start of the year. And then the Packers literally fell apart physically when Micah tore his ACL in Denver, which I think we all knew when it happened. I'm like, oh, that's not good.
His knee went one way, foot went the other, and it was ugly. That was almost like a turf monster jumping up to get him, and we don't have turf in Denver. That's all beautiful, natural Kentucky bluegrass right there, and it's so there's no way that the turf monster got him. That was an unfortunate event, is what that was. That sucked.
Yeah, just like seeing Kittle tear his Achilles in Philly, I'm like, oh, that's not good.
That hurt. That really did.
Yeah, I never want to see anybody go down with. But as they say, next man up. And you know what? if your Stidham ends up in a Super Bowl, maybe he pulls a Jeff Hostetler or Nick Foles.
Hey, wouldn't be the first time, and it probably won't be the last either. Stiddy can do it. If anybody can do it, it's Stiddy. We're in Stiddy City. We're going to have a Stiddy party, and it's going to be Stiddy high all day long. Go Broncos.
And you know what? What maybe New England would say, well, Drake, this might be May Day, but you know what? If Stiddy did it, maybe Stidham will have his own street named in Denver.
Hey, one can only hope.
All right, B. Thanks for hopping on, and we know your Broncos will be buzzing on Sunday afternoon. We wish you the best, and you know what? There'll be plenty of orange and blue in Denver.
Oh, yeah. You're going to see a sea of orange and blue, I can tell you that much. There might be a handful of New England fans that travel, but not as many as you would think. That is a true home field advantage in Denver.